Hello, welcome to another Chats with Carly. And today I am chatting with the very lovely Lucy, who lives in Swindon. And yeah, let's just chat. So Lucy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, actually this week. I keep saying this word corona coaster, and it really is, isn't it? This is all about life in lockdown and how it's going to move forward as well. And we are, 12, 13 weeks in now, is it?
Yeah, I think this is the start of the 13th week.
Yeah, so how are you finding it so far? How's it been, your last 3 months?
So I think your corona coaster is pretty much how I've been feeling. So to start with, I really struggled. I was watching the news back then because I felt that I had to keep in the loop and know what was going on, and I began to get quite obsessed with it and looking up all these things online and getting just too absorbed in what was going on. I began to worry about whether I would catch the virus, whether I would be okay if I caught it because I've got an autoimmune disease. I got really worried about leaving the house. The first week I had a panic attack in a supermarket with my boyfriend while we were shopping. So I stopped going shopping for the next 10 weeks, and I went for the first time last week. But yeah, it's been a bit up and down really. Good days, bad days. Mainly good, purely because I do feel that I understand my anxiety and I can manage it quite well. But it's just natural to have ups and downs throughout a time like this when we struggle with anxiety. So I've just been accepting it for what it is, really.
Yeah, wow. Because I know you, Lucy. We've worked together, and you're about to be on my podcast very soon as well. And we were just chatting literally about anxiety and the journey to get to that place and how it was at the beginning. So I guess with lockdown, has it kind of taken you back to that initial start of your journey in a way, in places?
Yeah, it definitely felt like that at the start. Even with other emotions, I was actually beginning to slip back into a bit of a depression as well, which I struggled with in the past. I was crying a lot. I was sort of hiding under my duvet, which is something that I used to do a lot going back 5 or 6 years. And it was hard to get myself out of that at the start. It felt a lot harder than it naturally would be for me to get myself out of my anxiety and to take back control of how I was feeling. It definitely was harder than it usually would be.
I guess we've not had anything like this in our lifetime though, have we? And that's the thing, isn't it? You've got your anxiety toolkit we were just chatting about, and you can have all those tools, but is there a tool or a manual out there for COVID-19? I guess.
Yeah. It's like a new trigger, and new triggers do come up every now and then. And it's not always that easy to use your existing tools for a new trigger. Especially something like this where it's completely different to anything we've ever experienced and it affects absolutely everything. I was quite lucky because my boyfriend, we decided he was going to move in with me and my parents, which has really helped having him around. He's really good at getting out and walking every day and eating salad for lunch and all that kind of stuff. So he kept me on the straight and narrow when I needed it at the start.
Well, that's good. So you've had support there.
Yes, definitely. We've only been together for 6 months, and 3 months we've been locked in the same house.
Oh, that's intense quickly, isn't it?
It's been really good, and it's shown that we're definitely right for each other, so that's good. No arguments, which I think is a kind of miracle.
Yeah, if there's anything to test a relationship, especially at that early stage, it's a pandemic.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so good that you've got that support. So yeah, you say about getting out about walking. Is that the main way you're what the main things you've been doing to cope with it, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. So I made the decision, well, he made the decision and I went along with it the first week that we would walk every single day without fail. He's actually back at work now, but I'm still trying to stick with the walks, and I'm probably going 5 out of 7 days, which is good. But at the start, for the first 10 weeks, we went every single day. We had loads of salad for lunch, bowl of fruit in the evening, just trying to eat really healthy, keep moving and keep as positive as possible, really, because it is hard in a time like this. But mental health is really important. And we wanted to make sure that we were looking after our mental health as well as our physical health during this time.
Yeah, that's so important, isn't it? And it's funny actually, she's saying that, I'm feeling slightly like, yeah, that's kind of what my intentions were at the beginning, to be really healthy and all that. But I suppose this is different with parents watching. That anyone, please comment on this, if a parent's watching, you're probably nodding along going, yes, I wanted that, but we kind of end up eating the wrong things and drinking too much wine to get us through it.
I can totally imagine that it would have been a different experience for us if we had children.
Yeah, it sounds like you, but then again, it's not, is it? Everybody's, this is what this is all about. That everybody could look at that and think, oh, you've not got children, it's a more pleasant experience. But then actually, no, you've had your anxiety to kind of keep under bay. So everyone can have different struggles, and I think that's a really key thing to do, isn't it, to look at, is comparison in lockdown and in life, and just kind of, yeah, not to make that judgment, I guess.
Exactly, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what else have you had any like key, I like to ask these people about key like either light bulb moments or learnings or anything like that in lockdown?
So well, let's talk about the business side of things, because I actually work in a school full time, but because obviously, like I said, I've got the autoimmune disease, I wasn't allowed to work during the last 12 weeks. My first day back is actually Thursday. Be working 1 day a week from now until the end of the school year probably. So I decided that I would use this time to really focus on my business and supporting people with their anxiety. It does help me with my anxiety, because the more that I can support others and help other people, it actually keeps me learning about my own anxiety and learning new techniques and using them myself, because I feel like I have to practice what I preach. So, and sometimes when I'm feeling that anxiety, I wonder whether it's worth sharing with other people. And I always decide that it is, because anxiety isn't something we get rid of straight away. And it's something that we have to manage over time and continue to understand it. So I always share my ups as well as my downs with my audience, which I think is really important. I use the time really wisely. I have written a book during lockdown, which will be published later this month, called Stand Up to Anxiety, something that I've always wanted to do and just never had the time. So I made the decision at the start, this is my time, this is my opportunity. I've literally had 12 weeks handed to me on a plate. I have to use this time wisely and actually write my book finally. And that's kept me really focused. That's given me like drive and motivation to get up every day, get dressed, get out of bed and actually be productive.
Wow, yeah, I love that. That is one way to use your time, isn't it? And was that a conscious decision at the beginning then, or did you have, because I feel like I look back now, this is a mini journey in itself, that I went through that initial period of quite low, feeling like my depression was coming back, battling that anxiety and just thinking, what, it kind of felt like it came from nowhere, even though we saw it coming really. But yeah, did you have that first? I think you kind of mentioned that, but how long did it take you to kind of get through that initial stage?
So I'd say the first two or 3 weeks were really, really hard. And although I was still going out for the walks, mainly because Scott was really into it and eating healthy, I wasn't doing much other stuff business-wise. I was very productive. I'd written the book outline, but I hadn't started writing. I just didn't feel in the right energy space for it. But since then, from about the 3rd week onwards, I've been, I would say 90% of days have been good days and been productive. But I do always like to listen to my body and give my body what it needs. So if I feel that I need a day off or I need to rest or I need an early night, then I'm always comfortable and happy doing that.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that is such a big part of it, isn't it? It's listening to your body and listening to your mind. You always say about listening to body, but I think you're really good at that. And thank you for sharing such an honest experience, because I guess, I openly admit now that I suffer with anxiety. You're very honest in your sharing of it. But actually, might be people who are just coming to that realisation, especially with lockdown, this may actually just have triggered something, or it could even create it, couldn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Idea, yeah. So I think it's so encouraging just to hear other people sharing their stories. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And yeah, hopefully we're getting towards the end of lockdown, so we'll just carry on.
Yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
There is, isn't there, I think. But yeah, I mean, that's actually the last thing I'll ask you is any tips on, you know, for anxiety, people coming through it now. I think there's another wave of anxiety, isn't there, of getting back to normal. What would you say to people for that?
Yeah, so funnily enough, obviously I just said that I'm going back to work on Thursday, and obviously I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety about that because I've not been at work for 12 weeks. I'm going to be surrounded by people that I haven't seen for that amount of time, and maybe they've got the virus. That all of those thoughts are obviously going through my head. And like I said earlier, new triggers bring new symptoms, and they sometimes need new or different tools to manage them. So it's going to be a trial and error process. Like we said earlier, it does sometimes feel like you're back to square one and you need to go through all the learning again. So basically, I'm just going to be using what I already know to manage my anxiety, and hopefully it works. And if it doesn't, then I'm just going to be open to trying new things, being kind to myself, and just accepting it for what it is, which is anxiety during a really tough time, which is completely normal to be experiencing.
Yeah, love it. Well, that's the perfect place to stop it, I think. It's just being kind to yourself, and yeah, just doing what you can, isn't it, really? It's doing the best we can.
That's all we can do.
It is. Well, thank you so much, and yeah, take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.